guys, Sebastian here with Grace Vintage. Welcome to our gallery. In today's video, we'll be talking about the brand new line of Gibson amplifiers. Here at Grace, we've been fans of the original Gibson amps for many years, and this series is inspired after those original amps that we love so much. And I gotta say that I'm very impressed. These amps sound great. They definitely capture that vintage feel and tone, and definitely reminiscent of the original amplifiers. So let's talk about some of the features. The one that we have right here is the Falcon 20. They also offer the Falcon 5, which is kind of like a small, lower wattage version of this amp. And yeah, the features in here are very interesting. So you can see aesthetically, first of all, it looks quite a bit like the old ones. There's a few changes here and there. First of all, the Tolex is cream color rather than the lacquered tweed that you would see in those original Gibsons. But they still have like this slanted, boxy look with the handle. You know, that again looks very much like the old ones. The layout is fairly simple. You have a volume, tone, reverb, and a tremolo, which, you know, the reverb and the tremolo are foot switchable. And I would say that because of its simplicity, you might think that you might not have that much flexibility tone-wise, but you do with this amp. With the tone control, if you turn it all the way down, basically your EQ starts to flatten out. And then if you turn it all the way up, you start to increase a little bit of high end and low end. So it's kind of like a way of either increasing your mids or getting them down to have a more scooped sound in a way. The volume control, again, goes from clean to mean. You know, it's very straightforward. And especially if you start to use those lower wattage settings, you're gonna see how the amp distorts very quickly. And you know, of course, if you use a Gibson guitar, such as this Gibson Custom Shop 1959 Reissue ES335 with humbuckers, you're definitely gonna drive the amp really hard. Then you have a reverb control that you know, sounds very lush and big. It's a reverb that definitely gets very wet, if you know what I mean. You know, it's very splashy and big sounding. And it's a spring reverb tank, by the way. And then you have a tremolo that has a speed and a depth control that controls how fast it is going and how intense the effect is. One feature that they have added to this amp is the ability to change the wattage. So you have full, mid, and low, and basically give you 3 different stages of volume and headroom. Obviously, when you go to the low setting, it's like super quiet. It's almost like perfect for bedroom playing and recording. On the mid setting, you know, you're getting a sound that you could use it in a club or in a rehearsal, but definitely a drummer that is loud might drown it out. And then if you go full volume, you're getting the full 20 watts. In the back, you have a 112-inch Jensen 40 Blackbird speaker, which has been designed to kind of like replicate the vintage vibe that the original Jensen speakers had. And they do give you kind of like that tighter mid-forward response that you normally hear in, you know, older Gibson amps. The amp, I would say, you know, is very compact. It has like a portability aspect of it that you can't overlook. You know, it's designed for the musician that wants an amp to grab on the go. And honestly, it sounds pretty good. Like it's a great sounding amplifier. Before we jump into some playing, I'm gonna show you guys the guitar that I'll be using, which is this Gibson Custom Shop 1959 ES335. This guitar is an all-around monster. It feels really good and it looks like an old 335. I think this is one of the best options that the Gibson Custom Shop is offering right now. So definitely check it out. So let's go ahead and get some tones out of it. We'll be playing clean first, then we crank the volume a little bit more to get some distortion, then we'll show you guys some of the tremolo effects. So let's go ahead and start with a cleaner sound. can see right now, even the clean sounds of this amp have a little bit of hair. Again, this is an amplifier that likes to get dirty. So we're running it right now on the edge of breakup, and as you can see, it's very sensitive and dynamic. If I hit it hard, the amp is gonna, drive and start to get a little nasty, but if I play softer, I'm gonna get some cleaner sounds. It's very, vintage inspired. It doesn't have a lot of low end, a lot of high end. It's not very hi-fi, but I think that's kind of like the character of that they're trying to go for, because vintage amps didn't have this hi-fi big sound to it. And it pairs up really well with the Gibson guitar, needless to say. These amps were designed to work in conjunction. By the way, they were designed by the Mesa people, which basically were bought by Gibson a while back, and they have served a key role in the development of this circuit and the design and overall of this amp. So yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and play a bit of drive so you guys can hear how the amp sounds distorted. I'm gonna go ahead and crank the volume knob. So the first thing that catches my attention is the sag when you dime the volume control. This is an effect that happens when you're just diming the circuit on full blast, and it creates almost like this compression effect where when you play hard, it kind of like squishes the sound, and it feels almost like a compressor where like the amp just can't give you more, and it sucks in the sound a little bit more. And I find it very interesting when you're soloing. It's a very interesting effect. It gives you a lot of sustain, and it sounds very squishy, and at least it's a sound that for me is very easy to play with. It's not very revealing, and it allows you a bit more headroom to just solo and go a little bit crazy without the mistakes coming out, which is very interesting. I kind of like that vintagey vibe about it. Now let's play it with the vibrato so you guys can hear how that sounds. So as you can hear, the tremolo has like this subtle throbbing effect that, again, is very reminiscent of old amplifiers. I kind of like it. It's not super aggressive. It stays very contained and it's very musical. Let's go ahead and play some lead now without the tremolo and a bit more gain so you guys can see how, all that compression and natural explosiveness that you get from diming the volume just gives you a really nice feel and sustain, and it's a great sound. Beautiful sound all around. I like this a lot. I think they sound fantastic. So yeah, overall, I would say that this amp, I would say it's designed for the player that just needs a grab and go combo that is gonna give you that vintage inspired tone. But obviously it's brand new, so it doesn't have a lot of the issues that old amps have. And yeah, it has that squishy sound. The fact that you can vary the power and get distortion at whatever volume you need is very useful for recording, rehearsing, or playing live shows. And I feel like it pairs up beautifully with a Gibson guitar. So yeah, I feel like it's a great addition to the Gibson catalog. With that said, we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in this gear, the link is down below in the description. Head over to walkersvintage.com if you wanna know more about us. In there, you'll see all the amazing things that we have in stock. We're talking about guitars, cars, coffee, watches, and a lot more. If you guys want to support this channel, give us a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and follow us on Instagram at @walkersvintage. My name is Sebastian. Until next time.